Good morning and welcome to this live stream with the Hutt Valley Chamber of Commerce. This morning we're going to share with you some of the exciting news we've got around the Wellington Business Expo for 2020, which of course, given the state of this year, is a whole new look Business Expo. And I'm joined this morning with one of our Expo sponsors, NZME, Andy Hoey, who is Media Specialist with NZME, and Vanya, who is our General Manager for Wellington and Wairarapa. Welcome, Andy and Vanya.
Thank you.
Hello.
Lovely to be here.
Yeah, great to have you with us today. And can I first of all say thank you so much for your enthusiasm and your encouragement and your support to bring this Wellington Business Expo to life in 2020, given that it's a whole new look event. Really appreciate your support.
Oh, look, we're absolutely thrilled to be involved and to partner with you with this event. It's so important. So thank you for having us as part of it.
Great. Okay, so just wanted to share with you some of the information this morning about our Business Expo. Our Business Expo, you may have known of in the past. It's been running for 10 years, but of course for 2020 it looks completely different to anything else we've ever had to do. But very important to run an expo this year because our surveys of our business community show us that our business community across the Wellington region is very seriously keen to connect and meet with each other and to be together. And the Business Expo is a proactive and productive way of doing that. We've had to cancel some of our other in-person events, but the recipe we've created for the 2020 Business Expo is in response to a lot of the experiences we've had with COVID-19 and what a lot of our business owners across the community are telling us. So we know, just to start with that we know that business confidence is through the floor. It's not comparable to any other year we've ever had. So businesses are needing a lot of support and what you can see from our business confidence survey is that many businesses are trying to change their operation and change the way they behave and how they market, certainly going online, certainly looking for new business, certainly strong messages we get from our business community around wanting to connect with each other. And through lockdown and the different levels of lockdown we've had, that connectedness and that bringing together of the business community has been an important part of our response. So for the Hutt Valley Chamber, we decided to go ahead with Expo because Expo is a really practical way to bring our business community together. So a little bit about the program for you this year. So it's a combination of online and in-person events. So the actual trade show is online. There are 3 online packages for stands and business owners can purchase whichever package they prefer, and they start from $195. And given that we're all suffering financial impacts of COVID-19, a low cost to get on board was an important part of this event that we're running, and it runs across 2 weeks rather than 1 day, and then the content will stay live now until well into 2021 or until we run Business Expo 2021. And then we have a range of in-person events running across the 2-week showcase as well. So I'll talk a little bit about those later, but one of the most important things in terms of creating this event is to have some really strong digital marketing and some really strong online presence. And that's why we were keen to partner with NZME and to work closely with their creative team and their media specialists and their media team to get the word out around Expo. And so that is where NZME comes in. And that's why I was really keen to have Andy and Vanya join us today. So can I ask you guys to share some of the information and some of the work you've been doing together to get the messaging around Expo out to as many businesses across the Wellington region as possible?
Absolutely. So as Vanya mentioned before, we were really excited when we started engaging in this conversation with the Hutt Chamber about the prospect of an online expo. It was new, something different, but of course, in view of the year we've had, we also agreed that something, a different approach had to be taken, which you've done a great job on. So you mentioned before about businesses wanting to connect with each other. Well, interestingly enough, we've seen through a lot of sort of surveys coming through, a lot of information that we've been getting as well, is that the general public want to hear from business. They don't want to stop hearing from you. They don't want to stop seeing you just because they can't get out and about or hadn't been able to earlier on in the year. If anything, they want to hear from local businesses more. So not only an opportunity for businesses to connect with each other, but a really good opportunity to take that online and to your customers as well, to possibly even a wider base, maybe people who aren't necessarily set in Wellington now still have an opportunity to come to the fore and hopefully engage with you and purchase your products or services. So at NZME, or New Zealand Media and Entertainment, we have a whole raft of products, and what we try and do is obviously pull the pieces out of the puzzle that benefit the customer or partner, in this case, that we work with, to make the most of the situation. So we have a very strong digital audience base with the New Zealand Herald. We're quite lucky in that respect. And a lot of these people tend to be, we've got quite a high percentage of business owners, decision makers and so forth using that channel as well, as regular Kiwis do on a daily basis. So it seemed a sensible place, I guess, to start pushing this Business Expo or letting people know about it from not only a business point of view, to let members, business owners know to sign up and get on board, but then also to the next part of the campaign, to tell people that it's on now, advising people to jump online and take a look. So we've actually been running sort of all sorts of different campaigns in and around this, which has also been supported by radio. And in particular, we run what we call a sponsored article, in which whereby we engage one of our journalists who works in with Helen and Hannah at the Hut Chamber to sort of garner all of the information around this expo, relevant information, and then put it on the New Zealand Herald online, which is actually a story talking about the current environment for business. And then we kept taking it back to this expo that's coming up, of course, being the first of its kind in New Zealand as well. So those types of story tend to engage with readers a lot more, in which case they're actually learning a lot. They're not just looking at an ad that's kind of coming past them. Don't worry, we had those too, of course, but you really want them to be sitting there, spending a few minutes, taking on board this information, letting it sink in, and of course, then pushing forward to the page on the Hut Chamber of Commerce site. So we were pretty happy in that. We also pushed it out across our social media platforms, or Facebook in this case, and the New Zealand Herald on Facebook, again, has huge engagement. So great way for us. In fact, a lot of people, when they're online, they actually do go to our Herald page via the Facebook link. So it was really handy to have that in there as well. We guaranteed, a certain 1,200 clicks through to the website, which is hopefully will then translate to further down the track of having people, whilst the expo is live, coming online, viewing the businesses, engaging with all these companies to, again, hopefully purchase your products and services. So the next part of the campaign, we will actually have starting between the 5th and 16th of October. We'll be running a radio campaign on Radio Hauraki, The Hits and News Talk ZB, which we can discuss later if you like a bit more about that. But we'll also be doing a heavy campaign on the New Zealand Herald during that time to drive potential customers to this expo.
So it's a real multi-channel approach, and then a really good mix of that kind of editorial type content and engagement with the commercial.
Yeah, and certainly, I know that my sort of profile online would deliver me that sort of content, but I certainly have seen many of our adverts, our display adverts, in amongst really high-profile content on your news channels. So a lot of the COVID latest updates and the COVID news as they've come out every day have certainly included a lot of our Expo content, which is high reach content and a really good blend. So I think it's part of Expo, part of the reason for doing Expo this year is certainly for us all to learn about how to blend all this digital communications with the traditional. And so we're using telephone and normal websites and that sort of thing as well, but to use your digital and your sponsored content across and your radio, putting them all together is actually a really strong recipe. And I think one of the reasons for us wanting to do Expo is for us all to learn that. So, and for us all to experiment with that, because that's what COVID's taught us all to do, is to just now change our model completely and embed online with in-person. It can no longer be an alternative, one or the other.
That's right.
It's so true. And it is all about that connection. How do we connect as businesses and as people in this environment? And that word that people use constantly, overused word, I guess, is how do we pivot in terms of engagement and connection in this kind of, not post-COVID, but in this kind of post-COVID environment. So yeah, and you're right, Helen, it's so good to have those banners and that around that really high volume content, because what we do know is that the need for really good news and journalism is really driving huge traffic to the Herald Online, huge amounts of engagement, huge amounts of even new people to the site. So for you to be aligned, for us to be able to drive, your commercial message alongside that means there is great engagement.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, your whole geo-targeting thing means that, that sort of content gets out to the right, most relevant targets, really, doesn't it? So it's not...
Absolutely.
Yeah, which is crucial. I remember in our initial discussions, that geo-targeting piece around, delivering that content to Wellington-based and close business community, it was really important in terms of effectiveness.
Yeah, and I guess that's why, we utilise our research and insights team a lot as well, from the radio and digital perspective, to go, who do we need to reach and how do we connect with them best? And that geo-targeting is part of that process.
So probably like any business, Helen, as you know, when you've been in the business for long enough, your gut feeling is quite often right about, what decisions you make, but it's always nice to have, the department and the data to sort of back that up, in which case we go to, particularly when we look at partnering for events like this, or businesses like, associations like yourself, we need to make sure that we're really hitting the mark. So, we know that we can layer that with a certain layer of talking to business owners in the region up to a certain point that we think that we can get people involved in this expo. There's no point in talking to the whole country if you don't need to. And then, the other side of that, we also know that, just because you're a business owner or what have you, doesn't mean you aren't just also reading the New Zealand news page. You're not necessarily just reading business or technology articles. So, of course, there's a layer in that as well. So we're working with data which tells us where to, put these messages on your behalf to ensure that we're sort of trying to get the highest engagement as possible.
Yeah, delivering the right audience for you.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think one of the other things that I picked up on in our initial meetings was that, we're promoting a whole new way of running an expo. So there's quite a lot of education to be done in a very short space of time, because our whole year has been squashed into the last few months of 2020, really. So I think when you've got so much information to convey, like the whole new model for Expo, book a stand, attend in-person events, attend the actual Expo, that sort of thing, you need a mix of media to get all that messaging out. That's why we've got extensive web. I think your sponsored content hit that quite well.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's finding that mix so that you get the right information, but in quite a concise way. Otherwise, it's information overload.
Yeah. So if you are a business owner looking at thinking about the Expo, if you haven't heard about it at all, then please do find out more about it. We've got 3 levels of stands, starting from $195 plus GST. So they're not expensive. It's a very accessible and affordable way to start learning a bit more about how to use different channels to do your digital marketing, and how to get your own digital marketing further out, of course, with all the power of NZME's networks and their expertise. Really helpful for us all to join together and improve all our reach and access to our new customers. So I encourage you, if you're a business owner thinking about the Expo, just get on board. It's not a big spend. It doesn't need an extensive business case to spend $195 plus GST. The content stays live for at least 10 months, probably 12 months. So, we'll be driving traffic that whole period of time, which is the benefit of being online. And then we have an extensive program across the 2 weeks. That's October 12 to to October 22. We have an economist breakfast on the 12th of October. We have 3 business safaris organised for the second week of the Expo. We have a manufacturing and technology forum, and we're delighted to host the Honourable Grant Robertson to that, because we want to talk to him about allocating budget to support the manufacturing and technology sector as part of creating our next generation of COVID economy. We have a health and wellness forum, because we're all have issues around health and wellness. Has never been so important as this year in terms of good mental health and physical health. And we have an education to employment showcase. And I think we also, on one of our safaris, will be coming to see you guys as well, won't we?
Indeed, yeah. Woo.
Yeah. So I had the pleasure of visiting the NZME studios a few weeks back. Andy, you're a lovely host. And we're looking forward to showing some businesses through your premises in Wellington. I think it'll be a great day. So, so we'll just get that information all up on our website this week. The URL is wellingtonbusinessexpo.nz if you're wanting to find out more. We're adding content to that every day. So, and we're going to wrap the whole Expo up with a mega networking event. Let's hope we're all at level 1. In that last Thursday of the week, which would have to be about the October 22nd. So that's sponsored by Riverlink and the Lower Hutt Event Centre. So I'm really looking forward to that closing event. That'll be a really good celebration of having delivered a business expo and bring the business community together. So so there's an overview of the business expo this year. Totally different recipe than we've had in the past. I encourage everyone to get involved. Andy or Vanya, is there anything you'd like to add?
Well, again, certainly a well-rounded Expo event, so we're really excited about it. Both of these in-person events, Brad Olson is the economist for the business breakfast, so he's going to do a great job. I'm sure there'll be some interesting information for everybody to take away from that. But I thought I'd better just clarify before we sort of finish up about the advertising campaign. It was a sort of 2-pronged approach. Of course, the first part was about letting people know about the Expo, but also asking local businesses to get involved. And here's an opportunity to have the chance to be a part of something like this, which is a first in the country. But of course, the second part of it, you need to know that there is extra value for you for becoming a part of it. And they are really, really well-priced packages. We are running a full radio and online campaign to tell the public to jump online and check out this expo while it is happening for the 2 weeks that it's on. So you will see and hear it regardless of whether you're involved or not. So I would, implore you to get involved if you can.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah. And so you are, and your sponsorship is our Economist Breakfast. I know we've already got good registrations for that. I know one group's already booked 8 tickets just for their leadership team. So we're all hoping we'll be at level 1 for that event. We're calling this Expo COVID Smart. We've got events at all different levels of lockdown, and we can even run, of course, the trade show during level 4, which of course none of us want to be at. So I think it'll be it's a lot of organising, but I think it'll be a really strong offering. So can I thank you again to NZME for your support?
Thank you.
We couldn't do it without you. We need to be able to get out to as many people as possible and get as many people involved to book a stand and to attend the event as well. So both prongs of our advertising and our promotions are so important. So it's just so good to have your support and to have your confidence in the event and to help us bring this to life for the Wellington region business economy.
Absolute pleasure.
Thanks so much, Helen.
Thank you. Really enjoyed having you today, and it's a pleasure to work with you. And in closing, if you want to ask any questions about the Expo, please comment on any of the Facebook pages that you're seeing this live stream on. It will be a Hutt Valley Chamber Facebook page, Wellington Region Business Expo Facebook page, or our Hutt Valley COVID-19 support group Facebook page, or you can email Hannah at hvchamber.org.nz or phone our office. So thank you very much again, NZME. Look forward to bringing this all to life together, and it's a pleasure working with you.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks so much.
So have a good day.
Bye-bye.